What's going on, everybody? This is B with the BNT Sports Talk Show, and we are going to change things up a little different today. Now, normally we're doing interviews over at Oracle Park or at the Chase Center, possibly getting kicked out, getting interviews with everybody, but we're going to make it a little more intimate today. I have the wonderful Eva Snow with me here,
Hello.
poet and big baseball fan. Obviously, today is 415 Day, so it holds a little true meaning to both of us as we are both from the Bay Area here. But she's found a way to incorporate both baseball and poetry all at the same time. So, Eva, tell us a little more about what you've been doing so far.
So, my first introduction to poetry, because I couldn't stand it, was my love for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And so, my first poem ever written was a baseball poem. And it was a tribute to the Giants' 2014 World Series and the beginning of the season to their last. And also, it's a very favorite pastime of my family and I's. And that was another poem that had gotten featured in Skyline. And then for fun, when I have writer's block, I write baseball poetry, like what the game means to me. And so, yeah.
Awesome. Well, tell us about your first book that you had put out here.
My first book, Soliloquies of Me, a modern odyssey of a San Franciscan old soul, basically tells a journey of someone who was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, died and came back to life. And so I wrote about it. I think being angry about that whole experience, and it flourished. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Eva Snow came into fruition. And with, of course, my love of the city and the energy, listening from Andre Nicotina, Equipto, and of course a little bit of Gucci Man beats, it inspired my flows. So I just after a collection of poetry that I wrote in a Disney book, I did say I was going to get it published.
Mm-hmm.
And from the help of my fellow friends, they inspired me and pushed me to put it out.
Awesome.
So,
And this is the first copy that we have
yes.
here, which is also available on Amazon. The link will be in the description below here for you guys to purchase. I highly recommend it. It was a great read. We actually got a chance to meet for the first time when you published this book here.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see your friends absolutely do some amazing things here. And I really enjoyed reading this book the first time around. And
Thank you.
now, talk to us about the second installment here
So the
with the
second
books.
installment basically is like a continuation on with her journey, but now that she's come into her own person, after coming out of the darkness, her own Frisco energy came out. So the book, I honestly, book two holds dear to my heart. It really touches on not just like the way I wrote it, but also the music that inspired it. I think I was told that when somebody had read it that I sounded like the Frisco Nicki Minaj.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of Edgar Allan Poe-ish. It is, because dealing with a chronic condition, it is turbulent. And I don't sugarcoat it as to why I say soliloquies of me. You basically, when you read it, you cry it out to the heavens,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel everything. But also to add a little bit of like added salt to it, to tone down kind of the sadness, I guess you can say. I added the baseball poems, also a tribute to a fellow Frisco native who was, unfortunately, his life was ended young. And he also inspired me to just push on my dream no matter what. And so I did write a tribute to him. His name was Case Miggs.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal to me. Also, too, let us not forget like the cover. My cousin, I'm the Walt Disney. She brought it to life.
Yeah.
And the city holds true to me. That's why Sutro Tower is always an image in the books. But when the second comes out, you'll see the Portola sign. That is my district. And, just paying homage to the city and what energy it brings, and beat poetry, where it all started. And yeah, so the second book to me is like, I was excited when it came out. And
Awesome. You
yes.
mentioned something about the music here. Now, obviously, we're talking baseball here, so the
Uh-huh.
Giants did unveil their new City Connect jerseys. Now, the new City Connect jerseys do have a little bit of a music flair to it, with the records kind of imprinted on the purple, kind of for the vibrant colors of the
The Fillmore
Fillmore here,
District, I know.
and then some of it to pay homage to some of the music legends that we've had in the past. Like you mentioned, Andre Nicotina, even E40. We've had the Grateful Dead, Carlos Santana. What's your take on those City Connect jerseys that the Giants rolled out? Do you feel like it really fits the vibe and what San Francisco is about when it comes to those jerseys?
Well, yes, in a way, because San Francisco is a melting pot
It
of a bunch
is.
of different energies and artists. So when I saw it, it was a trip. My eyeshadow was the same. that
Yeah.
day. It was orange and then like a gold color in the middle, which resembled the white,
Hmm.
and then like a purple underneath.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, wow. It's a change. People like,
How would you rank them from, we had the white Carl the Fog jerseys to these ones
you know
here?
what's funny? Don't get mad. I didn't care for the fog only because like I'm very San Francisco based, so I wanted to see the Golden Gate Bridge,
Yeah.
not the Bay Bridge, like or the to
Yeah.
the East Bay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just yeah.
Okay.
It's all right.
Well, there you
It's
guys have
okay.
it. When it's a little
I
more of the San Francisco vibe, you're gonna get a lot more of a positive feedback there. So no, that's a great answer there for it. But look, we mentioned it was 415 Day. You
Mhm.
do have a poem for 415 Day, and I do want you to pull that up for us here because I'm going to read it. It's a beautiful poem here, folks. And don't worry, we are going to talk sports. But look, like I said, as both of us represent the 415, the Bay Area is our home here. I did live in Hawaii for a little bit, but I always stay true to my roots here, which is the 415. So I'm just going to read this poem that she wrote, and then we're going to get to the baseball right after that. So 415 Day, celebrating this beautiful city's day. There's nowhere on God's green earth I'd rather reside. I'm a Frisco native, and I take that with love and pride. We stay uh, paralleling in streets, moving to the groove of our West Coast heat. The flares beyond compare. Keeping it real, blunt, and direct. Every sect knows to show respect to the Golden City by the Bay, where we stay repping our Giants and 49ers no matter the day. The arts and culture allure crowds from all over. The city's a true treasure trove, and the core of that glitz and glamour are the natives and long-time residents who built this city for their families and future families to live happily ever after. I think that really describes a lot of what 415 is and what it means to us here. So give us a little more perspective on how you came about with creating this poem here for 415 Day.
Well, it's not just the history of San Francisco in itself, but I think also too just the dynamic of families that I've gone to meet, the
Hmm.
ones that have been here for so many years, and the ones that are actually like moving in and really love just the energy, the allure. There's something about the city that still gravitates, that grabs people's attention,
Yeah.
and it's to me it's an honor the fact that my grandfather came in 1958, the same year the Giants did, and decided to, settle his nest right there in San Francisco. Especially when the Giants come in, it was just awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, the city, I feel like it's like no other.
And,
Um,
and you know, it's funny that you bring that up because our parents, our parents before that, all kind of built us into that reputation there.
mhm,
And so when you say Giants and Niners to the day, that's what this is all about here.
mhm.
Is it's a big different community that we all have, but there's one thing that we all share in common. It's our love for the Giants. Love for the Niners. I have to speak differently on that just because I'm not a Niner fan, but the Bay Area does have a huge love for them there. And then also like teams like Golden State, the San Jose Sharks. At one point, it was the Raiders. Not only all of that there, but that's what the Bay Area was all about, was being a part of your sports team in
Mhm.
regards to that. So it's a beautiful poem here. It absolutely does represent what 415 Day is
Thank
for
you.
all of us here. So thank you for sharing that there. But let's get to some of the baseball poems here. Now, you've had one that is featured at the Skyline Library here.
Uh-huh.
It's called My Favorite Pastime. Give us a little more about My Favorite Pastime here
So
for
that
you.
one, the actual file was lost in the abyss. So
Uh-huh.
Skyline has the only copy of it. It was basically about my parents and I went to the playoff game, game 2 of the 2010 World Series. And mind you, we hadn't been in the World Series until which one grades there
2002,
too. Okay, 2002,
1974.
1994.
Now you have installment 2 out. Installment 2 does have a poem, Forever Giant, here. You do have a copy of this here and love to share it with all of us here.
Okay.
Let's have you open that up for us and get a read for it here. Like I said, all beautiful poems that we have in representing our Giants here. So Forever Giant, champagne bottle pop, gold liquid splashes everywhere, cheers and tears. The black and orange have done it again. The third World Series in 5 years, which is the last modern day dynasty for baseball.
Uh-huh.
Their journey wasn't easy, injuries made it tricky. The Giants continued rolling to make baseball history. During their June swoon, they fell to the number 2 behind the Dodger Blue, which none of us like. while the Cardinals were on a mission to take the NL division. As the season progressed, you can feel the stress, but the players were strong together and believed they'd be playoff contenders. With their ace skipper, a clutch bullpen known for their strikeouts and no hitters, and let us not forget the squad of RBI leaders. They achieved what we call now a modern dynasty. Eva Snow 2015. That was probably one of my favorite memories of the 2014 season was the fact that it was probably the last good shot that we had winning that World Series there. And when that World Series was happening, or even just that run there, would you have ever thought in your entire existence here that you would be able to see the Giants become a modern day dynasty baseball team?
Of course, I felt it in my bones. I told you, all of a sudden spring training came about. I was clearing out all my sports gear. I was putting out my Giants gear, and I stopped midway, and I looked at a jersey, and I had this feeling in me, and I said, we're going to do this. I was like, I don't know how, but we're going to do this. I remember running around the house. I was like, that's it. We're going to go to the World Series. And my parents looking at me like, are you nuts? Like, the season hasn't even started yet. It's like, no, just watch, just wait. And I was like, I want to go to almost every single game. And it became my relationship. I went to 84 home games that season. I counted all the and it was a lot of games, but the memories and the impact that it made on me, it touched me. And it was so funny. Like, they got their business done, and I had to take care of mine too, which was my stimulation for writing and getting my publishing career started. So yeah, I mean, they sparked it, and I remember that season. That's why I had to write this montage to them, because just the uplift, the energy, the faith that they had, the belief, it's awesome.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it.
I would honestly say seeing the one in 2010 was just something magical about it, because the Giants were like the team that could just never get it done, right? Like we saw it in 2002. Obviously, I don't remember 1974 because I wasn't around during that time, but we got the history of it, right? The line drive that Willie McCovey hit that ended the series there for the
My
Giants.
birthday buddy.
Something that we get to cherish for our lives for a very long time as sports fans, right? Some cities only get to see a championship every once in a while. We got a chance to witness 3 of them in 5 years. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't think I ever saw it coming, because there were some dark times after 2002, right? Like there were some losing seasons. The only thing that we really had going for us during that run was Barry Bonds' chase for the home run record, right? And so you start thinking about that, and you start losing picture of the Giants trying to win a World Series through all of that there, right? And then 2009 comes around, you see a little bit of progress. 2010 comes around, and we're not expected to do anything, right? Let's be honest. When they sign guys like Pat Burrell, Aubrey Huff,
yes.
Edgar Renteria, those are guys that we're not sitting there and going, they're not franchise changing guys, right? But they were people that were written off, didn't want to be a part of any team, and then all of a sudden the Giants come in and it kind of resurrects their career, right? And we get the division title.
I remember hearing that we had signed all these misfits. It was the misfit team in 2010. It's like, yeah, right. I go, but you know what? The misfits get it done. Something like that. We were always the underdog. I was like, I'll take that. Funny story. 2010, we won the World Series. I heard it. I was coming back from Disneyland on the 5. And I hear John Miller saying the Giants have won the pennant. And I told my ex-fiance, I was like, you better take me down to San Francisco. And he's like, what? And I go, and I brought all my Giants gear. Unbeknownst to me, what was going to happen. And we ended up being at Cattleman's Ranch, and everyone's there calm, and they're showing on their big screens that the Giants are celebrating. And I got out, I took out my stuff out the trunk, and I changed in the parking lot. I didn't even care. And he goes, do you want to jump on the table? And I was like, yeah. And I was just like so elated, that my team did it. I wish I could have been there like in person, but the distraction of Disneyland in 2010 is hilarious.
That's a pretty big distraction, to say the least there. I was actually in Los Angeles at a training for work, and when they had won it, and it was just perfect because I was in a bar with a bunch of Dodger fans here, having to watch all this take place here, and man, it felt so good to see something like that happen. Before we get to some of the burning questions here in regards to the Giants, I got to ask you, out of those 3 World Series here, which one just kind of holds to your heart forever? I know we love
Oh,
all
you're
three
gonna
of them.
do that to me?
I know we love all three of them there. I just to kind of break the ice, 2012 for me meant so much, just because to see them back in a position and really succeeding here in that, and to sweep a team in the World Series, something that's rarely been done. Watching Pablo Sandoval hit 3 home runs in a game, right? Like a lot of that, just the history behind all of that there just really kind of resonated for me. So 2012 will always have a special heart for me for World Series. But for you, out of those three, which one is just something that is like, out of the three of those, you can sit there and say that's
Well,
that's
I
the one I
went
love
to
the
the
most.
clinchers of 2012 and 2014.
Hmm.
So it's actually kind of hard. Like they're both even. I mean,
You
in
can say both.
2012,
You
I
can say
went with my
both.
brother, and all of a sudden it just starts raining out of nowhere. And
Hmm.
I call my mother and I go, "Is it raining where you're at?" She's like, "No." And I was like, "What?" It's kind of like there was just a cloud.
Yeah.
And we're like, "Yeah!" And they give us the rally rags and we put them on our heads so we would, can like dry us up. And I did not care. I was like, "Bring it down, baby." And then 2014, sneaking into the game. All right, whatever. It was back in the day. It was, and. I felt like I grew 10 feet after Travis Ishikawa hit that home run.
Yeah.
Yep. And I got picked up in the air. Someone kissed me. It was nuts. No, it was great. It was so fabulous. I mean, I cried. I danced.
I
It
would
was
say
amazing.
a lot of grown people cried that night, and it was just like you said. It's just that's how emotionally we attach our to our teams, and it's okay like that. Like you having that kind of feeling for sports there is genuine, right? We care about it. The word Giants means much more than just the name of the team,
Oh,
right?
yeah. It
It
means way
represents
much
San
more. I
Francisco.
mean,
It represents the history of players that have come through New York and San Francisco. So
mhm.
yeah, having those emotional raw feelings that you have, right? Like we haven't seen that again since, right? So getting a chance to witness it live in person is something that's always great
Yeah,
there.
they'll show clips on KMBR
Hmm.
or they'll play them and I'll feel
I
it. Or they'll show it on CSN Bay Area on a
hmm
random day there's no baseball and I'm just in there and I can feel the tears welling up like, yes. And I'm like, can we bring this back? And I was
just
like, but
just to get a little off topic, like for me, every time I watch Steph Curry in 2022 win that championship and get emotional, like I get emotional too, right? And it's because you're invested of him and what he's done for that organization, and as a fan of what he means to your team. Of course, you're gonna get emotional, right? Like it's gonna happen with
yeah,
something like that. So yeah,
I get that way with my Magic.
see, and we'll get you a Magic game. Hopefully, the Magic are getting out of that playing tournament there. All right, burning questions now.
Uh-huh.
This is all centered around our Giants here and some of the history here. So I got a chance to ask you these things. Hopefully, you're ready for them here.
Okay.
Your favorite Giants player of all time and why?
So I prayed about this and I pondered it, and there's two B's that come into mind: Barry Bonds and Buster Posey.
Ooh,
Yes.
double. You,
The double B's, my
double with
BB.
the
I can't help it. I mean, Barry Bonds, from when he came to us, I just remember his little cross earring and him
Mm-hmm.
coming up to the plate, very thin in his white uniform as
Yeah.
a giant candlestick. And he gave me this feeling like I just saw one of like another god. Kind of like when someone would see Babe Ruth coming up to the
Yeah.
mound, to the plate. Um,
How crazy is it that we had Willie Mays and Barry Bonds, two probably you could say arguably one and two baseball's greatest all-time players wear our uniform, and not only that, but Barry Bonds
this is
is the
godson.
godchild to Willie Mays there. Um, I guess to that there, do you think Bonds belongs in the Hall of Fame?
Yes. Yes, off top.
You hear that,
Off
people?
top.
Just put
He's
him in the
talent.
Hall of
Off
Fame.
top.
Just put
He
him
had
in the Hall
talent
of
when he was
Fame.
in Pittsburgh. Like, come on, stop knocking the guy.
I know.
He just has it.
Just because he
Um,
was mean to people doesn't
yeah.
mean that he
Oh
doesn't
well, I
belong in
mean,
the
I
Hall
can
of
be mean
Fame.
to people too. I'm just kidding. Buster Posey, homegrown man. I was there his first home run game. The day he broke his leg, I was in
Mhm.
club level, heard the crack, and tears just automatically come down my face. Just everything about this guy, it has nothing to do with looks. It's all the demeanor.
Yeah,
He wears that uniform with pride, with honor,
he does.
and he knows how to be a great team leader. He understands the game of baseball. It's not just analytics. He gets the talent,
Hmm.
and it's just like, to me, it's like so fun to watch. Like, oh my God, I've done that at least one time in my life.
You know what the crazy part is to that is he's not homegrown. like homegrown in the sense of he came through our minor league
Yeah,
system,
yeah, I know that.
but
Yeah.
like born and raised in
Is he-
San Francisco, he's from Florida.
Yeah, that's
Right?
what I mean. Yeah.
So for him to adapt to our culture, to really know what it means to be a Giant, like that was important to him, and he's kind of installed that with this team now, as far as like having the players from the past come through the locker room, the players of now understanding you're not just wearing just a uniform, you are wearing a San Francisco Giants uniform. And so I think that's very big for players like that, to make sure that that history of the Giants will always stay forever. Like they say, a forever Giant, right? It really embodies what that means there in regards to that. All right. We did talk about it a little bit. You did mention a few of the memories here. But what's your favorite Giants moment that stays with you till the very, very end? Just to give you a little context, for me, Barry Bonds passing the all-time home run record. It at AT&T Park will always be something that withstands it. We could talk championships, we could talk parades, all of that there. But given the heat that that man got, and that was our guy setting a record that may never be broken again, that's my memory that kind of sticks out the most there. So for you, what kind of really sticks out in regards to that?
I mean, of course, all the highlights, because they replay in your head or whatever, and you can watch them on replay on YouTube. But honestly, it's the ones you can't replay that sticks with me. I was a fan fest, and I had a Giants baseball purse, and I wanted to get it signed. And I went, and with John Miller, Mike Kuip, Mark Gardner, and they all loved my style, and we were just talking real baseball. I mean, I sat there like Bugs Bunny, and I was just like, baby, but it was so exciting. It was that honor right there. I'm like, I'm with John Miller, like Mr. Yeah, baby. I was just so excited. I was like, yes. Mark Garner, of course, I gave him a big hug, and Cook and Kuip are like the best duo ever announcing. I love them both.
We have Cook such the greatest set of announcers.
We do. Kuiper's my old man crush. Yes, and will always be. Sorry, Kuip. It just.
That's a good one. Old man crush. I like that. If you hear that, Kuiper, make sure you take care of her, man. She got love, nothing but love for you.
But that to me was like my memory, because like I lived it, like I'm there with them. Yeah.
We are, and John Miller paints a perfect story when it comes to baseball. When you get a chance to listen to him, whether it's on TV or on the radio, he brings the game to life. But then it's almost like he's right in your living room, like when he's talking about the game, right? Dave Fleming as well. He's the baby of the group there, but he's one of the best that we have, and obviously Mike Krukow and Duane Kuiper here, that just brings so much energy, so much excitement to us while watching the game. And I have a hard time listening to other baseball games because they don't match. They don't match what we have here. And it's just so great to have those four. Lon Simmons back in the day as well. We got a little bit of taste of Lon Simmons while we were growing up listening to Giants baseball there. But yeah, we've had some Hall of Fame announcers here. All four of those guys are going into the Hall of Fame, and they're from us. Yeah. They're from the 415 here. Let's kick it back here. Now, obviously, Oracle Park is celebrating 25 years here, but we don't get Oracle Park without Candlestick Park here. Now, Candlestick Park is probably the most legendary place. We've all grown up there in one way or the other, whether it was going to Niner games, going to the Giants games, getting that little pin for surviving a cold night at Candlestick Park on a Tuesday night with maybe 300 people in the stands. Like it looked like the A's stadium on certain nights, right? What's a memory for you that just sticks with you when it's Candlestick Park?
My dad and my mom. They would pick up deli sandwiches from Armeninos right there on San Bruno Avenue, Lower Portola. And then we get to Candlestick Park, and I just remember the guys yelling, red rope, or the malt. And my sister and I falling asleep between like the third, fourth inning up to the sixth before the seventh inning stretch. But it was that, I'm sharing like the greatest pastime with my dad. And I feel like, it's not even just me being a firstborn daughter. I just think in general, like for any child, bonding with the parent and the sport, it builds a sense of integrity. It gives you a sense of I guess you say like normalcy, honor, especially when things are chaotic. baseball is the most calming thing I will ever watch.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's also an icebreaker when times are tough.
Mhm.
You know, how about them Giants? You know,
Yeah.
I can be complaining about anything, whether it be MS, nerve pain, whether it be a headache because I'm having, you know, writer's block and I haven't written in a week or whatever. Put on some baseball and it clears that all out.
Yeah.
You know, that's my detox.
It is. And, you know, Candlestick is always that special. That's where we first got a chance to watch baseball. So we were spoiled in a way. Do
Yeah.
I miss Candlestick? Probably not.
Yes, what are you talking about? I love it. I love it. I miss it. I miss the tailgating for the Niners. Like that was another highlight too.
There
The Niners
was
last game
there was an
like,
aura
like
about
wanting to take the
Candlestick
dirt.
Park.
Like,
Yeah.
just marry the park. I mean, it was, yeah, I had so much fun, so many great memories.
I don't miss the wind tunnels. Remember when you get out of the
Oh,
stadium, getting out of the
or
section?
the people traffic right when you're
Yeah.
yes, you know, I almost wanted to like jump over there and I heard someone like died. I thought they were just gonna break their leg.
Oh man, it was so hard to sell out that stadium too because one, it was so big, and two, it was just too damn cold on a Tuesday night. Like the crowds we get Tuesday night at Oracle Park, we're not getting at Candlestick Park. That's 100% sure on that.
It's during the bottleneck coming out, all the traffic, just hang out, you know.
Yep. All right, now let's talk about the current team here.
Mhm.
They are doing extremely well. They took an L today, which is okay. Who do you have as a favorite Giant right now on
Gung Ho
this
Lee.
current team? Gung Ho Lee.
Gung Ho, Jung Ho Lee,
Jung Hoo Lee
Jung
for
Ho
everybody,
Lee for
but
everybody.
Gung
Gung Ho
Ho
Lee
Lee
for me. I was there at the game when he folded like a Twizzler.
Mm-hmm.
You know, thought he was gonna cut. When he came back, I was like, "Let's do this, man." He just goes ham.
Yeah.
I mean, from the plate to the outfield, there's no stopping this guy. And I was like, Gung Ho Lee, like he goes nonstop. And you know what? That's what I love to see, that none of these players, they really, when it comes down to it, they don't let the injuries get them down.
Yeah.
They don't let the little slump get them down. You know, even Duvall, you know, he's coming back.
I hope so,
you
because
know,
I have different feelings about him. But yeah, I hope he
have
does
faith.
come back there.
Have faith.
I'm hoping.
He's getting used to the clock.
I think for me, he just really just be dominant again. Like he was an all-star 2 years
but
ago.
the clock threw him off. It sped up his own process.
Everyone adapted.
No,
to
but
it.
I understand. But maybe he's just that guy that needs a little bit of time. You
Well,
know, he was
he's
already
getting
in
it.
his style, and he was fire. And then that
Yes.
clock came about, and he was like, maybe he got too stuck in his head.
That could be a
It's like with me.
possibility.
You give me there are times where if I gave myself a deadline, you're so pressured to meet that deadline that all of a sudden I start, you know, freaking out. Next thing you know, I don't bring out the best like product that I want.
Yeah.
So I feel for him. In a
Do you
sense.
think
Not
like
mechanically,
so
but
you
physically.
mentioned so you mentioned something like writer's block, right?
Mhm.
Do you think that clock would be the same thing as far as like a pitcher's block for
Yeah,
him?
like a pitcher's block.
Makes
you
sense
know?
there. Okay. Now we're 3 weeks, about almost a month into the season here. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't expect the Giants to be in this position at all. They were ahead of the Dodgers, which is always great. You said it yourself. You knew when excellence was coming here. You knew when a World Series was coming. Now, I'm not asking you to make a World Series prediction, but what expectations do you have for this team going into this year? Given that you have an overpaid Dodgers lineup, right? We all know it's overpaid. You got a San Diego team who thinks they're good, but hasn't really shown for anything for
They
it.
had their chance.
Where do the Giants stack up with these teams after being about a month into the season?
I think, honestly, they're gonna kick ass.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna wear those jerseys. Screw the money. I think they all deserve to get paid. You have the Dodgers who, come on, they be spending going into their deep in their pockets. The whole team is bought.
Yep.
You know, so why can't the Giants do the same but do it with honor? And I feel like that's what they all come together as a team. Not one shows up the other person. Like I said, they all at the end of the day they all come together. I mean, I was not happy about getting Verlander.
Yeah.
I thought we could have got someone younger. The Reds
He's
pitcher
actually, but he's actually not paying off. It's paying off.
No, yeah, okay.
Birdsong has actually learned a lot since he's been there.
Because he's with a veteran.
Yep.
Yes, I understand. Because I saw Birdsong his first time up, and it was great too. I was going for him also. He has a great arm. He used to keep up that velocity, though.
I hope so.
You know.
Yep.
But honestly, I don't really have expectations. More like to show up for the team and wear that jersey proud and play the game the way it's supposed to get played.
Yeah.
Not with analytics, not with numbers. Just feel the dirt, you know. Of course, you're not grounding or nothing because you have cleats on. But man, put that much in your hands and like, let's go. It's like put that bat in between your hands. It's like, let's just go. Like that's just it. you know, and it's like, just play baseball. There's no crying in baseball,
None.
you know, and I feel like if it's in their bloodstream and it goes through their veins, like, put it out for the rest of the fans to see,
You think
you
with
know?
Buster Posey being the president of baseball
Yes, I think that was a
operations
huge
here,
plus. You see the huge change.
yeah, you see the culture
I see
change
the
too,
culture
right?
change.
Like
Yep.
Farhan Zaidi just was trying to eliminate that, and Buster Posey, without saying it, just basically said, "We're bringing the history back." You
Hmm.
have Bob Melvin, who was an
Instant
ex-Giant.
Nugget.
You have
Yeah.
Pat Burrell as a hitting coach, ex-Giant as well.
Hmm.
But you had guys from the World Series teams coming in through spring training camps and working with the guys and talking to them and understanding why they are here. You're not only are you here to play baseball, you're here to represent a franchise
Yep.
that is respected around baseball,
Hmm.
right? And then you have obviously the last great that we have in Barry Bonds showing himself around the clubhouse there, and I think that speaks volume because when you hear about the Giants here, the one thing they always mention is Willie Mays was always in that clubhouse.
Yep.
You've never seen a player of that caliber hang around with an organization like Willie Mays, and I think Barry Bonds is starting to carry that legacy because he's with the team more often here. So to end it, are they playoff bound?
Yes.
Are they World Series bound?
Yes. And let's just keep it positive. Yes,
So
yes,
we're
yes,
gonna
yes,
sit
yes.
here and
I
say
think
that
they're
we
gonna do
are
it. I think
claiming
they're
it.
not gonna let this whole all the noise get to them.
Yep.
I mean, look at who we have, you know, behind the squad.
Yep.
And then they have all of us fans behind them.
They
So they got
definitely
nothing
do.
to lose. I honestly feel like I'm not, usually I would be upset, like, as much as I don't care for Verlander, I'm so happy about this team.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of like, it got to the point where it's like, should I keep a second job and just like go to baseball games? Yeah, no, it's like my addiction. Like,
It is.
I love it, you know,
Yep.
and I couldn't wait to write another baseball poem and something new with different players
Yeah.
and different dynamics, and you know, it's awesome.
I
It's
think
baseball.
you could feel the energy from the crowd being at the
Uh-huh.
games here. I know you've been to a few games already. I've been to one myself, but there's just a different energy being at the ballpark now.
Yep.
Like you could feel the excitement of baseball back. Obviously, winning helps quite a bit. We all
Mhm.
enjoy a winner here, but if you give Giants fans like us just a product that we can stand by, we're gonna stand by it through thick and thin. There.
Yes,
So.
I agree.
Well, Eva Snow, thank you so much for taking
Thank
the
you for
time today. I
having
really
me.
appreciate it
Thank
here.
you.
We go way back, by the way. Like our families go way back, so we've known each other for quite a
Yes.
bit here. So I love to see the success that
Thank
you're having
you.
with everything. I'm so glad you finally were able to push these kind of books out here. So I'm forever grateful that you did
Oh,
this here
thank
with
you.
me.
Thank you so much.
If you haven't done so already, folks, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. The description for each book will be in our channel, where you can purchase them. The first book here is available on Amazon. Second book will be on Amazon shortly, but for now is on Kindle Direct. So we'll make sure you guys have the links. And make sure to support such a poetic person here. So Eva, thank you again so
Thank
much.
you.
You guys have a wonderful night.
Bye.